Hello and welcome to another edition of Mailbag. What is Mailbag? Well, Mailbag is a feature of the channel where you guys leave lots of comments on the channel and I attempt to answer those comments, or if I can't answer those comments, I throw it out to you guys who have more knowledge on some of this stuff than I do. So let's get into the first mailbag of this session. Remember, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Go over to Instagram and follow me there. Go over to Facebook, follow me there. That's where the normal notices are. And consider becoming a Patreon. Next one comes from Martin Pivetta Music, and it's in response to initial setup options for the Roland TB-3, a video I did back in April in 2019. And Martin writes, "Hello, how are you? Well, I'm actually great at the moment. I'm feeling full of energy until I start knocking the house to pieces. Your channel is very interesting. It helped me a lot with my Aira equipment. Do you know the sample rate, how the sample rate drops from 96 to 44.1 in the Roland TB-3? Thank you so much." And this one was a really interesting head scratcher because I couldn't remember, and I did a bit of poking around to actually come up with this answer. But the Roland TB-3 is fixed at a sample rate of 96 kilohertz when recording the unit via the USB connection. So the USB connection is taking a 96 kilohertz sample from the TB-3 in a digital format. And as far as I know, and I did have a really good look around in the literature I got that actually gives you all the hidden switches, to see whether you can actually drop it from 96 kilohertz down to 44.1 or 44.4 is probably more correct. And the answer is I can't find anywhere. Now, if you're finding that you're having a problem and you need to drop the sample rate, then you might need to do this in the computer or software that you're recording to ensure the sample rates are matched correctly. So I suspect if you are trying to record it at 44, you probably need to bump up the sample rate to 96, so you're matching the bit stream that's coming off the device to the bit stream the computer is expecting. That's kind of what I would say here is you can't drop it, you're stuck with it, so kind of get used to it. I know it sounds kind of hard, but that's kind of the reality of the situation. That it is as it is, and you can't change it as far as I can tell. Maybe somebody can write in the comments you can change it, but as far as I can tell, and as I said, I've got documentation from Roland which shows the hidden switches, and I can't find any switch that allows you to drop the sample rate used on the USB bus. Next one comes from Tyler. In response to Luma-1 is another Lin drum machine clone going to hit the market. An SMR I did in September 2023. This has been quite an interesting conversation thread, the Luma-1. But Tyler says, it's going to cost me nearly $5,000 when all is said and done, but I had to jump on one because I'm a Lin drum owner fanatic. I missed out on some of the decent LM1 deals back in the day, and this thing is about to close on the original. Is about as close to the original as you can get. Here's a good example, and I'm not hating on the Prophet 5 Rev 4. I even had one before I bought my Rev 3 back long, in brackets long story. It has a real P5 and sounds like one. But if you lift the hood, there are just a couple of SMB boards in there and a couple of ribbon cables, and the power supply is almost empty. And a power supply, and it's almost empty. The Luma-1 developers don't seem to be cutting any corners. The machine is very complex and utilises both SMB and through-hole, but also employs important old components that were actually used in the original LM1, such as the Z80 processor. And those that know, the Z80 processor was used in most 8-bit micro machines at one point. Everything else aside, is the Luma-1 worth it? In most cases, definitely not. Especially considering it's mainly meant to replace a very primitive piece of technology. I certainly have my own reasons for wanting one, and so far everything I've seen and heard doesn't exceeds my expectations. There you go. And I've said this, in a lot of instances when I've said something is too expensive, people come back to me and say, "Well, no, you don't know what you're talking about." Well, there have been several instances where we have some fairly massive price drops on certain instrument ranges that I've commented on. So a lot of people can go eat things. Now, the Luma-1 is going to be expensive. That's the bottom line. But if you want a Luma, if you want something that is effectively a Lindrum with some modern additions, the Luma-1 is the place where you probably want to go. If you want something that's less expensive, then you're probably going to end up down the Behringer road. And that's kind of where the difference is. The Behringer road is going to work by ACB, which is sort of analog circuit behaviour modelling style technologies, whereas the Luma-1 is effectively generating the sound using the original Luma concept, the original Lin concepts, but it's using modern circuitry and technology to actually manage the machine, to store the samples in, so you don't have to keep changing EEPROMs, which is what you had to do on the original LM1, and allowing you MIDI connectivity and a number of other things that you didn't get on the original machine. That's what the circuitry, the new modern circuitry, is doing, while paying very much homage to the way that using the original circuitry that's been redeployed to generate the sounds and the functionality of the original machine. So it's horses for courses. I think if you really want one and you're prepared to pay the money, good on you. That's all I can say. Whereas some people on more of a budget might go the other route.